What's up, guys? Here to talk about UFC 283, Teixeira versus Hill. I'm going to go over all my picks and some of my bets for the card that I have so far. Last week, ended up doing okay still. I had a two-man parlay hit. I did have two single bets that I didn't win, but my parlay was more than them. I came out with a little bit of profit there, and then I live bet Dan Ige about 20 seconds into the fight, so I still ended up with a little bit of profit on last week's card. But so we're gonna go over this one, guys, and I don't have too many bets yet on this one. There'll probably be more. We'll just go over it and then for you in because I did already give away some bets on this card, or a bet on this card a couple weeks ago during the break. So, all right, guys. So first up, we're going to start with the main event and work our way down. We got Glover Teixeira taking on Jamal Hill in the main event for the vacant title. So I already told y'all a few weeks ago I put money down on Hill in this spot because I got him like a minus 120, when the line first came out. And I don't think it's actually moved very much, which is surprising to me. But, everything, everything in my brain tells me that Glover should win this fight, based on the skill set and everything else, because, he's a better grappler. He's got good submissions, and that's what my brain says. But for some reason, I just have a gut feeling that Jamal Hill's going to catch him and knock him out in this fight, because he's creeping up on, he's over 43 years old now, Glover is, and, he just took a lot of damage in his last fight. I mean, that's the kind of fight, that Yuri fight, it's the kind of fight that just takes a lot out of you, that you're not ever going to get back, So that, and just combined with, Hill's got some major stopping power. He's won all of his fights by finish. And I just have a feeling that he's going to catch Glover in this spot. I know that's just my gut, and I decided to go with it, which isn't always such a great idea, but yeah, I mean, my brain tells me I should probably pick Glover, but he's way up in age and took a lot of damage in his last fight. I think Hill has a good chance to catch him here. And I believe Hill finished, Thiago Santos in the fourth round or fifth round, so he's shown that his power carries over, into the later rounds. So, maybe he gets out grappled for a couple rounds and then comes back and gets a knockout in one of the later rounds or something. Maybe a good prop to target would be, Hill by KO in round 4 or 5 or something. Maybe you could get a really, good number on something like that. But most likely, I'm thinking he probably catches Glover early, maybe in the first round, second round, and puts him away. It's probably not going to be a very popular opinion because I know most people are probably going to be going with, Glover here based on the skill sets and based on the experience and, everything and all the better competition that Glover's fought. But I'm just going to go with my gut here, man. I already got money on it. I've had the money on it for a few weeks. Just a single play on Jamal Hill at 120, minus 120. Excuse me, guys. Get water. Yeah, so definitely going to be interesting, and it's an exciting fight. It should be a good fight. Sorry, I'm losing track of stuff here. In the co-main event, we got Figueiredo versus Marino for the fourth time. And, guys, it's... I mean, who knows really how this fight could go based on, the last three fights, I've decided that, after rewatching, I rewatched the last two fights, and I also rewatched Marino's fight with Kai Kara France. And I'm going with Marino in this spot. He's the younger guy. He's the more improved, and he was the more active. And, the last fight could have gone to Marino as well, the last time they fought. It was a unanimous decision. I could have saw it being a split, for either of these guys, really, the way that fight played out. Um, I'm going with Marino here. He just looks more improved. The way he handled Kai Kara France. Figueredo's been out since the last fight. How long has it been? Almost a year. That's not too bad, but he's creeping up in age. Still one of the best ever. Definitely, possibly the best flyweight ever, other than Demetrius Johnson. But I think Marino's got his number here. I think he's more improved and more active. Uh, he's got good scrambles. His boxing just keeps getting better. I noticed that he's tightened up his stance, so he's not putting his leg out there to be kicked as often, like he was in their last fight. So he's kind of worked on that. Um, Switched camps around. I know he was doing good with James Krause, but the new camp he's at showed a lot of improvements. And seems in the right place, mentally. And Figueredo was kind of trying to, to me it seemed like he was trying to dodge this fight, months ago whenever they were talking about doing it again. So maybe Figueredo didn't want to, go that fourth time with Marino again. Although it was a close fight, he did really good in that fight too. He rocked Marino a bunch of times, but I see Marino getting the victory here. I don't know if it'd be by a finish. It's probably going to be by decision again. Although in the second fight he did submit Figueredo, but I'm going with Marino here by decision. Possibly going to be parlaying that with some other stuff. If I do, I'll post another video on it and update it, and you guys can check it out. It'll be on my Instagram, highkick_fight picks, and I will post another video with my bets on it closer to the fight. If closer to the fight card, if a lot changes, if I decide on anything else, but I've got a couple what I feel is solid bets on this one that I'm going to give y'all now. So let's go back here. And then next we got Gilbert Burns, Neil Magny. I'm going with Burns here for sure. I think he should have the advantage anywhere the fight goes. Absolutely. I know that, Neil Magny's got the height and the reach, which is no different. He always does with everybody. But Gilbert Burns' grappling is going to be better. His submissions are going to be better. He's got that heavy hand, that heavy right hand. I don't know if he'll finish Magny in this spot, but I'm going with him all day. And he's a big favorite. He's like a -400 favorite last time I checked, or it might have been 360 or something like that when it started. I believe it's gone up like -400, which it's kind of disrespectful to Neil Magny. He's not a bad fighter at all. I mean, I was actually surprised the way he dealt with Daniel Rodriguez. I know a lot of people had him in that spot, but I thought D-Rod was going to pull it off, and he drug him into deep waters and finished him. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that with Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns is well-rounded all the way around, keeps improving. I don't know. I don't know if he'll finish Neil Magny. Possibly, maybe he drops him, with that big right hand and catches him in a submission, maybe the second round. But I'm definitely going with Burns in this spot. Like I said, it's kind of hard to make money on a line like this. I might end up parlaying him with Marino or something like that just to get a little bit better money on it. But Gilbert Burns is going to be the pick, guys. Next up, we got Jessica Andrade versus Lauren Murphy. So, I don't think there's anybody that thinks Murphy's going to win this fight. 95% on Tapology. And Jessica Andrade could win this fight in, any way, any number of ways. Most likely, I think she's going to get a finish here for sure. She's such a big favorite. You can't really bet it and make any money on it. Might be able to parlay her with, somebody else, maybe Gilbert Burns, or parlay her with Moreno to get a better line on it. Haven't decided if I'm going to do that quite yet. But I don't think there's a whole lot I can say about this that nobody doesn't already know. When it comes to doing the tape watches and all this stuff and watching all these people's fights, for the fighters that have been around forever, that I've seen all their fights, that I know them very well, I don't really do too much tape study on that because I know them. I know well what they do. I've seen their fights. I pay attention to all of them. I remember all of them. I might watch one fight of theirs, or if even that, on the people that have been around forever. So, like this, I already see this playing out. I mean, the way she handled Amanda Lemos, like so quick, with just like it was nothing, and Lemos is way bigger than she is, as far as like the build and the height and reach. She made it look easy. So I kind of see that happening to Lauren Murphy here. Um, I'm gonna go with Andrade by finish. TKO probably in the first round. Actually, I think she's probably gonna overwhelm her pretty quick. See what we got next. Next, we got Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. Now, people are probably gonna hate hate on me for this, but it's pretty easy. It's obvious. The way to beat Paul Craig is to just not go into his guard. He's got horrible stand up. He doesn't really even have good takedown defense, or good takedowns, is what I meant. And somehow these people that should have known better and should have been able to do that, or were just destroying him, somehow made the mistake of going into his guard. And that's how he got a couple of wins when he was thinking about retiring at that point, I believe. Before he got the win over Jamal Hill and everything. So it's pretty easy. Johnny Walker should be able to win this fight as long as he doesn't make a dumb decision. I mean, I don't even. A lot of people, give Paul Craig a chance here. I mean, it's almost 50-50 on the picks, and I just don't understand why. I'm not saying I'm not a Paul Craig fan. I'm just saying that, he's got kind of like a one-trick pony, man. He's a cool fighter. I like him. I like the whole Scottish vibe thing. But I mean, anybody really should be able to beat him. As far as like, if you got good striking and you're not going to go down into his guard, he doesn't have good takedowns. It's just I don't understand how somebody as talented as Krylov, or even Jamal Hill, just still got caught in a triangle. I mean, that's kind of like a thing where not a lot of people get caught in triangles nowadays, anymore. Everybody's so good with their BBJ. But I'm definitely going to be taking Walker here. I'm going to wait and see if the line gets up a little bit, a little bit better than what it was, because I think he was minus 175 the other day. If I can get him down just a little bit lower than that, I'm going to take money on Johnny Walker for sure in this spot, because Paul Craig's not going to knock anybody out, and Johnny Walker's big enough he ought to be able to stay out of Paul Craig's guard and either get a knockout or just win a decision. Play it careful. Don't do anything crazy. Don't get any scrambles. Just piece him up from the outside. And, it should be a pretty easy win as long as he can do that. He's got, what has he got? He's got, like 6 or 8 inches of reach? I would say definitely just step around the outside and stay away from Paul and keep him out with that jab and bust him up. Easy win for Johnny Walker. All right, next up we got Marcio Rua taking on Ihor Poteria. And I know it's in Brazil, and they're trying to give Rua, Shogun, a good fight to go out on. But at this point in his career, there's not a lot going his way. Even, fighting, OSP his last time out. I mean, I guess he gave him a good run. It was a split decision, but that's OSP. OSP doesn't do a whole lot anymore in his fights. He just plays it safe and lays back. A young guy like this right here, is going to be coming in trying to take this guy's head off, and I think he's probably going to knock Shogun out here. I know they're trying to give him a favorable fight, for Brazil, for him to retire in Brazil. And maybe they did. Maybe they see something that that I don't. But at this point in Shogun's career, the guy's a legend. I just don't see him. I don't see him pulling it off in this spot. I don't think this is a bad spot to put money on Poteria here, at all. I wouldn't. I'm considering it. I was kind of hoping I could get him a little bit better than minus 200, but I'm actually surprised he's not higher than that. Um, he's Oterio's he's kind of wild. He's kind of a wild striker. He got finished pretty quick with Nigariamu, Nikolai Nigomarianu. Sorry, fuck that up. Um, last time out, but I mean, Shogun's not going to be, using the grappling on this guy. I mean, this guy's a lot bigger than Shogun. I foresee Oteria possibly knocking Shogun out in this spot. Um, just because it's so late in Shogun's career. I mean, back in the day, Shogun would have handled up on this guy quick, no problem. But just too late in his career, man. I mean, I hope for his sake that he goes out on a win because that would be cool. There's not a whole lot of fighters that get to retire on a win, nowadays. But going with Poteria to get the knockout, probably the first round, second round in this spot. Next up, we got Gregory Rodriguez taking on Bruno Vieira, and so Gregory Rodriguez, I made money on basically. I mean, all his last few fights. I actually thought he won the Petrosian fight as well, but basically, yeah, all the way from Dusko to Dorvik, all the way to his last fight out with Chidi Nijikwani. I've had money on him. I've won money on him. Same story every fight. He goes out there, he gets hit, he takes all their best shots, he works his way through it, and he gets a knockout. That's what this guy does. And people talk a lot about they refer back to his contender series fight. Was it the contender series fight where he got knocked out? Yeah, by Jordan Williams. It happens. But since then he's proven that his chin's solid. He's going to eat all the best shots. I know this Bruno guy's a big Hulk. The Hulk, but probably he's got a lot of power and everything. I don't think he's ready to step in with Gregory Rodriguez, who just came off a knockout victory over Chidi Nijikwani. I mean, Chidi is one of the better strikers I've ever seen, as far as just striking goes. Maybe not the best grappler, but and he took all those shots, stuff that would have put everybody else out that I can think of. He ate all those shots, came back, he got the victory. I see him probably knocking out Bruno here pretty quick. Probably making it look like he did Julian Marquez when he ran through him and just, half a round like it was nothing and barely got touched. Yeah, that's what I'm calling it here. But you never know. Maybe he'll get rocked a little bit like he normally does and come out, or maybe he'll hang on to this big dude and wear on him a little bit before he starts teeing off on him, tire him out. But Gregory's going to get the win here. Rodriguez, parlaying him with Thiago Moises actually the next fight. And I was gonna throw Jolt and Almeida in there, even though it doesn't really add much value to the card. But yeah, we'll get to that. So I do have a parlay with Gregory Rodriguez and Thiago Moises, 2-man parlay. And I think the line's like I got it to like with the parlay is like minus. I think it was like minus 146 or minus 148 or something like that on what I got them on. Which I had money on Gregory Rodriguez already against Brad Tavares before Tavares dropped out. So, yeah, I just kind of picked it back up there. But so I got a 2-man parlay with them. Let's go to Thiago here. Thiago Moises against, we're just going to call him Costa because I can't say his first name. But so we all know the story with Thiago Moises. He's a great grappler. Striking could be worked on, but he tends to make it, work for himself. That was a bad look against Joel Alvarez. I mean, I had Moses in that spot for sure. But so I just basically see him getting this guy to the ground, probably getting a submission in the second round here. This guy's a young guy, but he hasn't fought, any good competition compared. Nobody even as close to Thiago Moises in his career. I know he's got a lot of knockouts and stuff, coming out of, the LFA scene and all that, but they're giving him a good shot, because he's in Brazil, and I imagine they probably needed somebody to hop into the spot down there to get Thiago Moises on the card. So he probably jumped in and took the opportunity and filled in for somebody else that dropped out, I'd imagine, and good for him. He's getting to the UFC. He's getting his shot, so that's good for him. But I'm definitely going with Moises here. And like I said, I got a 2-man parlay with Moises and Gregory Rodriguez. Now this next fight, Gabriel Bonfim and Moiner Lazez. So after going back and watching the tape on this, and everybody in this spot is going with Bonfim on this spot, Gabriel. I don't know, man. I'm not completely sold on him. I know he's good. I know he's really well rounded. I know he's had a lot of impressive victories, although, maybe not against the most solid competition. But I'm actually going to go with the underdog in this spot, Laziz. Just his striking is just another level compared to most people in this division, in the welterweight division. Really, his last fight against Jans Lusa, he was putting on a display, and it was fun to watch, and it was really something spectacular. Really, he had lightning fast jab, super fast combinations, good kicks. Just fought a perfect fight. And then really just ramped it up towards the end of the fight and was just throwing 6-punch combinations and shit. So after watching that and watching the two guys, and who was I more impressed with? Well, I'm more impressed with Laziz. So, considering an underdog play on this, but I do have another underdog play on this card that I've already got money on. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to put money on this. The Laziz in the underdog spot here, but it's a good chance. Or I might parlay him and my other underdog together just to get the most value out of it. So I ain't got to put as much money on it. Next up, we got Jolt and Almeida, Shamil Abdurkimov. So, there's not a whole lot that I need to say about this. If anybody's familiar with, with Jolt and Almeida, especially, the guys basically looked unstoppable. And he came in at light heavyweight, and then fought at heavyweight his last 2 times out, and he's a small heavyweight. He weighs in at like 216, 220, and he just ragdolls these big guys, and takes them down and beats the crap out of them and gets a submission pretty much. I believe he's won all of his. Yeah, well, he had a TKO against Dinero Marquez. But yeah, he submitted Parker Porter and Anton Turkey. But Shamil Abdurkimov, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's been knocked out 3 times in a row. He's on his way out. I know they're building Jolt and Almeida up to big time, and they're giving him the biggest layup right here in this fight. He's going to destroy Abdurkimov, and it's going to be awesome to watch, especially in Brazil. The line's so high, he's over a -1,000. There's no way you're going to really make any money on it. You can toss him in with a couple other smart picks just to get a little extra value. But, there's no no money to be made on Jolt and Almeida right now. Probably not anytime soon, until he gets up into like the top 5 or something. Next up, we got Terence McKinney taking on Ishmael Bonfim. And this is different. I know both those brothers are good, but I'm kind of torn on this one, man. I really liked what I saw out of Ishmael Bonfim on his contender series fight. He was definitely there to be hit. I will say that he was there to be hit, but he wasn't getting rocked. He was eating those punches, and he was pressing forward and really puts on a good pressure. A lot of volume, and really exciting fighter, and Terence McKinney's a lot of the same thing, but Terence McKinney's got big power and he's got good wrestling, but he's got a horrible gas tank. And unless he's worked on that, unless he's shored that up, he can't always get that first round finish. We saw what happened with like Drew Dober. He almost beat Drew Dober and then gassed out and got finished. So excuse me. So this fight goes one or two ways. One of two ways. Terence McKinney comes out, lands a big punch in the first round, and gets a knockout. um, in the first first few minutes of the fight, or Ishmael survives and pours it on and beats up a gassed out Terence McKinney in the last 2 rounds, or possibly finishes him because McKinney's too tired to defend himself. And I hate that because I'm a big Terence McKinney fan. I really am. It's exciting. He's got a lot of power. He's really good. But I'm still torn on this one, man, because like I said, I can't really put a lot of faith in somebody with a gas tank like that. So I've got to go with Ishmael in this spot, unfortunately. Depending on what the line looks like, might be a good guy to parlay with some other people to get some value on it, or just to take him straight up as an underdog pick. Um, man, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely going with Ishmael Bonfim in this spot. Got to. All right, next up we got Orly Alves versus Nicholas Dalby. Um, everybody's going with Dalby in this spot. I mean, on the Tapology picks and everything, but I don't know why. Can't really figure out, what's so impressive that he's done lately that they would, you know, uh, be so confident in a Dalby pick here. I know Alves just came off of a knockout loss to Jeremiah Wells, but everybody that's fought Jeremiah Wells has gotten knocked out or finished. So what's so bad about that? Jeremiah Wells is really good. He's one of the most exciting prospects right now, actually in the division. Um, Nicholas Dalby coming off a win over a 40-year-old Claudio Silva, um, and then he lost to Tim Means, who's kind of on the down end of his career at this point. So I don't see a whole lot too impressive there. I like Nicholas Dalby. He's an exciting fighter. Um, I like that he's from Denmark. I'm and everything, but I'm actually going to go with Alves here, and I'm kind of like I said, they're giving these Brazil fighters winnable fights for them. The UFC is in their eyes because it's in Brazil. They want Brazil to win in Brazil. Maybe not for the belt. The UFC would probably rather have Jamal Hill win that belt, but they want to put on a good show for Brazil. So they're trying to give these guys winnable fights, and I'm going to take Orly Alves in this spot. Probably not going to put any money on it. This fight could really go either way, but definitely I'm going to go with Alves there. Josie Nunes versus Zara Ferring. Zara Ferring. Uh, so, I mean, I even took notes on it. It's one of these deals where I can't say enough good shit about Josie Nunes. And I can't find anything good to say about Zara Ferring. It's other than the only thing that Ferring's got going for her in this fight is the size advantage. She's going to be quite a bit taller and have quite a bit of reach, but that's nothing that Nunes is not used to. I mean, every fight, that's the situation. She's always smaller. She's got big power. She fights very well all the way around, and she's been very impressive in all of her fights in the UFC. She's gotten finishes, all that. It's just she's really awesome, really fun to watch. Good Muay Thai. Then on the other hand, you got Zara Ferring, horrible wrestling, bad submission awareness, and bad submission defense. Probably has good power, probably has a little bit of a lot good kickboxing experience, but never gets to use it because she cannot grapple. And she also hasn't fought in, I think, almost 3 years. Definitely, it's been at least 2 years since she's fought. And, 36 years old versus 29 years old. It's, she's, I don't know how she's still in the UFC with the performances that she's put on since she's been here. She got submitted by Megan Anderson, which, where is she at? She's not in the UFC anymore. And got knocked out by Felicia Spencer, so, and that was almost 3 years ago. So what has she been doing? We don't know. She ain't been active. She's got nothing going for her in this spot. And it's no wonder that Nunes is like a minus 500 favorite right now in this spot. So definitely going with Nunes in this spot. There's no way to make any money on it, really, guys. Unfortunately, even if you caught it early, I think she started at like a minus 350 or 400. So next up, we got Luan Lacerta versus Cody Stamann. Um, so everybody's familiar with Cody Stamann. Uh, good wrestler. Got some power in his hands. Striking could use, it could be better, but it's not horrible. He recently had like a three fight losing streak, but if you look at who he was fighting, Jimmy Rivera, and that's he's good. But then you had Merab Dashvili, which everyone's losing to him right now. Saeed Nurmagomedov, everybody's losing to him right now. In his last fight, he kind of got a layup, against aged veteran and Eddie Wineland. It was his last fight, and he got the knockout. So, and then this Lacerda guy, he's a black belt, BBJ, and he doesn't really have good striking. He's got good submissions. He's got okay striking defense because he doesn't have a lot of volume. He he kind of like he doesn't really have good takedowns. He kind of does like leg picks and kind of like gives up like a good position, a dominant position, to get to the ground with somebody, and then scrambles for a better position once he's on the ground off his back. He's kind of he'll wrap up the legs, try to create scrambles to get into a better position. But as far as like getting people down, he doesn't really have good takedowns. He's it's kind of weird, he's kind of like he's got one good thing that he's good at, and he's found a way to make it work for him. He's tons of submissions, tons of wins, 12-1. But in this spot, it should be pretty easy for Cody Stamann to go out here and avoid the ground, and probably not use his wrestling in this spot, just avoid it, and piece this guy up on the feet and try to knock him out. I'm going to say Cody Stamann by decision here. He's a minus 335 favorite. I don't know if that's really warranted in this spot, but I could see him being more like a minus 225, minus 200. But yeah, it should be pretty easy for Stamann to get the victory here. I mean, I understand why he's a favorite. Let's see what everybody else is thinking on this. It's actually there. A lot of people are going with Lacerta, 42%. I don't know what they saw that I didn't in this spot. I guess he does have a little bit of reach on. Got quite a bit of reach actually on Stamann. From what I've seen, yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, I got to go with Stamann in this spot. Lacerta's striking is not good enough. Not a lot of volume. He was the last fight I saw of his on. I think it was the LFA. Yeah, he was kind of getting pieced up on the feet. Not really doing a whole lot until he was able to go to the ground and kind of drag that guy to the ground with him, and then sweep around and take the back and get a submission. Cody Stamann's not, somebody fighting in the LFA. He's been around a while. He's really good. I think he should be able to pull this fight out for sure. And let's see, the next fight is the last fight on the card, I think. Oh, damn, I went too far back. Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out all this stuff and get better at all this. I've been trying to figure out all the video editing and all that stuff, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I like to do everything in one take, even if I do fuck it all up. I appreciate y'all listening to me, and I appreciate everybody that subscribed and likes my videos and everything. So the last fight on the card, we got Daniel Marcos versus Simon Oliveira. Daniel Marcos, 13-0. From what I saw, I know he hasn't fought the best competition. He looked really impressive in his fight on the Contender Series. He's got really good striking, really exciting. He's got good kicks up the middle. He landed quite a few of those in his fight on the Contender Series. He's got nice combinations. Got really good leg kicks. Pretty good head movement as well. Hasn't fought the best competition, like I said, but he's undefeated and he's got a long pro and amateur record as well, and undefeated as an amateur as well. So I think he's on like a 19 fight win streak right now. And then on the other side, you got Oliveira here. I know he didn't look very good against Tony Gravely, but that's not an easy UFC debut to have against Tony Gravely. But Simon Oliveira is the favorite in this spot, and I don't see why. Because basically I just could find a lot of mistakes and a lot of stuff I felt like he was doing wrong and stuff he was struggling with. I watched 3 of his fights, the Tony Gravely fight and the 2 previous ones before that. And he struggles with the wrestling. He doesn't have very good takedown defense. He kind of wastes a lot of energy chasing like guillotines and jumping guillotine and giving up a position to go for a guillotine. That he did that in the Tony Gravely fight like probably 4 or 5 times. So he's burning his arms out trying to get a guillotine and giving up top position or giving up being on bottom to get a guillotine that he's not going to get. So he's got good Muay Thai. And he does a lot of crazy, jumping, flying knees and spinning attacks and all that stuff, which that just helps burn down the gas tank even more, especially if you're jumping guillotine all the time on people. But he does have pretty good cardio for somebody who does do all that crazy stuff and everything. He's definitely there to be hit. Striking defense isn't that good. And I guess the only downside to Marcos here is that I couldn't really find too much on, his takedown defense or, his wrestling from what I watched in his, the few fights that I did watch of his. But, I'm pretty confident, from watching Oliveira fight that's not going to be an issue here. He's not going to have to worry about that from Oliveira because Oliveira is not very good at grappling or wrestling either. So I see this being a stand-up fight, and if it's going to be a stand-up fight, I got to go with Marcos, and I do have an underdog play on him. I got him at a plus 145 in this spot, first fight on the card. I guess because Oliveira's got the UFC experience is why everybody's going with him in the spot. But he's going to be the smaller guy. He's giving up a couple inches of reach, 3 inches of height. So based on what I've seen, I see Daniel Marcos getting the win here. I don't know if he finishes Oliveira, probably just be a unanimous decision or split decision victory. But I do have an underdog play on Daniel Marcos, and I'm actually expecting that line to flip around if it hasn't already. Because if you look on Tapology, 77% are going for Marcos. So I don't know what the bookies are thinking in that spot, but anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all listening. Please subscribe, like the video. I'll get better at this stuff. I'm still working on it. I'm only a few videos in. Get better with the editing and all that stuff. And please check out my Instagram, highkick_fightpics. And that's all, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. I'm out of here.